Hi, Dave here, and today we're going to check out the work of Ramon Nunez. He's an illustrator and concept artist based in Madrid, Spain, and he does have a very notable style. He has like a lot of followers on Instagram, ArtStation, and he doesn't have a big following on YouTube, but he does have a YouTube channel. I'll be linking all of the links of his in the description below. And I actually do like his work a lot because it's very heavy on the narrative side of things, lots of storytelling, and he does this thing in his work or portfolio where he does like short stories in visual form, and I'm kind of interested in that kind of aspect. He does have like a few comic pages, so he's kind of a well-rounded artist, and he also has here like a series of environments. I think he was trying to expand his like skill sets and shit, but usually though most of his work does have like a bit of line art, although his line art is not even that like refined. It's very kind of sketchy and very kind of pencil-like, but it's very kind of gestural and very strong on the kind of dynamicness, right? His work is not boring, they're always kind of in motion and kind of like anime, it's a bit more animated and dynamic. So yeah, let's begin. So he did have, I believe these are some studies he did. I think he was trying to get used to using Procreate. Oh, he also has a Patreon, by the way. I'll be linking it in the description below. And yeah, so I think he's not very heavy on the environments. He obviously has to kind of put some environments in his work because he's trying to go for more of a storytelling kind of art piece instead of just a character kind of design. Think storyboarding or keyframes. There's usually some kind of full scene, and he's the type of guy that just focuses more on that, kind of like a comic book artist. And if you kind of check out his line work, it's not super clean. It's pretty. They feel confident to me, and they're very not super refined, which I do like because I'm not that kind of person as well. I'm a bit sketchy, a bit rough, and I used to think it was kind of a bad thing, and maybe in some cases it is, but if it's not you, or if you're not the type of person that's like very patient or refined, then I think it's okay to kind of bring that part of you out a bit in your work, and it's okay to be a bit sketchy. Because that's not the only thing that kind of makes a piece good. There's so many layers to a piece. It could be like the lighting, the composition, the colors, the expressions in the face. There are so many things other than just the line work that really makes a piece kind of memorable. And yeah, I think he's a great reminder that it's okay to be kind of loose with your lines and work on refining things later on in terms of like the values, the shadows, the lighting, the colors, and you don't have to like go overboard with the line work. And a lot of his scenes though, especially these ones, they look kind of anime-ish. So I'm not sure where he got these frames from. Is it from imagination or from like a photo or something? But I do like the hue variety in his work. It's not a boring kind of piece. Like there's so many hues to it, and I think it just adds a bit more fullness to the piece. Even if you can tell with the line work, it's a bit kind of straightforward. Maybe a rough initial sketch in the beginning to kind of lay things out, but his final line work is just very kind of direct and confident. But the lighting, the way he does like the atmosphere or the kind of lighting, essentially, I think that's what really pushes it further and make it more kind of it gives more of the impact than the actual line work. Powerpuff Girls here. And again, I like seeing that kind of sketchiness to it. Obviously, you have to be careful because you don't want to be Because if you do too much line work, it's going to make the painting kind of not as good. You want to make enough space for the actual kind of coloring and painting phase. So you have to kind of tone down the line work in the beginning, and you have to lean to a more minimalist kind of approach and not overdo it in the beginning. Because you can always add things on later in your process. And he has a lot of these like GIFs or GIFs. And kind of right now I'm thinking about the future, and I would love to kind of animate my own stories. And I'm not sure what program he's using for the animation here, but it's pretty cute. And he does have like a nice versatile kind of skill set, which I'm a fan of. Like he's essentially kind of like a one-man studio, which is it just fascinates me when I see people like Ramon here. And here you can see the same thing. Very sketchy, almost like a pencil kind of line work. It's not like a fully very kind of graphical inked thing. You can see even like the rough sketches or the rough kind of lines. Excuse me. But because of the way he renders the actual thing, it makes it more. It just brings it to a more impactful level, right? So yeah, so you don't have to worry if it's too sketchy, right? And he does this thing with the perspective, kind of like this kind of fisheye thing where it's kind of super exaggerated, and it's pretty cool. It kind of makes the scene more lively, you know. And you know what? Showing the actual like sketch, like the rough sketch lines, it's not too bad, you know. It reminds me also again of Ahmed Al-Duri. You know, he does the same thing where he does show off the sketch lines a bit, where he doesn't really fully render something. He leans to a more kind of impressionistic, sketchy kind of thing, which I do like because that's where I lean to. So I believe this is Ramon. So I think he's trying to paint and just he wants to get good at using Procreate, I guess. And I think he shares more of his process and shit on his Patreon. So if you want to, I do recommend you check out his Patreon page and support him there. And again, look at the line work, very, very kind of direct. His faces are kind of cartoonish. It does have, like, he has his own style for the face. I mean, sometimes you can see a bit of like an anime kind of thing, because anime is such a strong kind of style, and it's so hard to just not to kind of ignore it. Because obviously they have a way of kind of expressing the different kinds of facial expressions, right? And there's always that sense of exaggeration, which Ramon does bring into his work. And this is a great example of how you don't even need to be super strong in your anatomy, because look at the way he breaks up the hand. It's just like a bunch of shapes. Think Adam Hughes. Focus more on his sketches, on Adam Hughes sketches, and you can see him sometimes do like small thumbnail types of breakdowns of like the arm or the face, and it's very heavy on the shapes. And yeah, so it's not exactly realistic. It has a bit of realism, obviously, with the way it's kind of lit. But in this piece, like the line work is a bit kind of or the sketch, sorry, is a bit heavy. It's very heavy, or most of his work is heavy on the shapes, right? And big eyes. And look at that sketch line here in the nose. He could have erased, but yeah, he could have erased it, but he did not. I think it's just it has its own appeal, you know. Even in the coat or this kind of yeah. And again with the lighting, very simple, not a lot of texture, maybe a bit of noise often in the work. And he does this thing with the lens correction thing. Oh, this is a great kind of animation, right? That's so cool. I'm not sure what program he used, maybe Photoshop or something. But it looks super cool, and I want to be able to do like stuff like this, you know, just it's kind of like a quick animation, and it brings a bit it's it's just nice to look at, you know. And maybe if ever I go into animation first, I'll try doing more like GIF stuff where you can kind of loop something. And I think it helps like his way of simplifying the figures, and his style in general is just very it has a nice kind of transfer to kind of animation, because you don't have like a lot of texture and everything, so you don't have to like it's going to be a bit more smoother, I guess, because you do have like a lot of flat colors. And his strongest texture is almost always kind of like a noise texture, which is it's enough to kind of add a bit of grit, you know. Oh, he did like a few studies of like, I think he was practicing his environments and his style, I guess. In this piece, you can tell in the background, he's not too heavy with the line work. It's very kind of flat, I guess. Kind of like this one. Yeah. Very awesome. Shit. I believe these actually take some time to do because it's kind of complicated. I mean, you can tell like he did copy a few things to kind of save time, but it does look a bit complex to me. So, wow, look at that. It's almost like some kind of editorial illustration. Very heavy on the shapes again. So even if it doesn't have like line work, it still really shows off his mentality of focusing more on the shapes instead of like going deep on the forms. He's very kind of graphical in that way. But yeah, very interesting. Not a lot of texture, right? And obviously there's going to be a bit of exaggeration with the perspective, whether it be the environments or like some kind of keyframe where there's like a lot of people. There's usually kind of an exaggeration happening, right? And yes, awesome sketch. Again, he did that kind of lens correction thing with the shift in this kind of cyan-ish, greenish thing with the reds. I believe this is John Wick, right? I think so. And he has like a pen. Oh no. Oh yeah, this is an example of his like keyframes or his more fuller scenes. And in the perspective, it's very heavily skewed. I like seeing that very sketchiness in the line work. The only texture I can really see is the noise. It's a bit more noticeable in his work. I love his figures here, very heavy again on the shapes. Very animated, right? And look at how he simplified the leg. It's like not even super like anatomical, but it's enough to kind of. And sometimes I have to remind myself that you don't even need to like go overboard with the like the anatomical details. You can just focus more on the shapes and just render it a bit to kind of suggest a bit of form, and then that's pretty much it. Even with the faces, they do have they're a bit more stylized, right? It doesn't have to be hyper realistic, you know, to be able to tell a story, you know. So again, the perspective here is heavily kind of like it's very kind of fisheye-ish, and I love the faces here, very kind of expressive and very exaggerated, right? Kind of like anime. The face of this chick looks very kind of anime-ish, big eyes, pointed chin. But what's so cool about Ramon is his style is so distinct, like the way he does the faces and the bodies. And yeah, like I do recommend you just kind of scroll through his portfolio, and you can see like a lot of he does do a lot of studies as well, of like characters and shit from films, and it really shows you how there's this nice transfer from studies, from doing like a lot of studies, and how that can be brought into your work. Because I do feel that his studies do play a role in the way he does his pieces, you know. Now this one is more of not a lot of color, very heavy on the values, but well, not super heavy, but just enough to kind of suggest the wheels and shit. But yeah, a bit of storytelling here, pretty cool. Oh shit, some texture brushes, right? But the biggest texture thing is the noise that he does add, probably in the end of doing this sketch. Oh shit, this reminds me of a film. Shit, I can't remember the film. It's I used to watch it as a kid. Shit, it's the Djokovic kind of chick, right? With the orange hair. Just kind of like an alien clone thing. I can't remember. Fuck. But again, you can see the bit of noise here, a bit of lens correction, and look at the face. There's a bit of it has more rendering. You can tell by the edge control, right? The way he does like the shadows or these spots of light. Nice highlight here. The sketch is a bit clean here, right? Just a bit. But yeah. And look at the nose. That's a pretty nose, right? Oh shit! Lip slip. Now this one's another fisheye. Some kind of Viking chick. Very scary face, but yeah. He has a way of he does have like a few pieces in the end. Obviously I won't be able to review his entire portfolio because he has like a lot. So, but he does have this post where he talked about like it was entitled Simplicity, and he was just talking about how there's a lot of like energy usually in your first sketch or in the kind of initial sketch, and sometimes by fixing that sketch you kind of sometimes lose that energy, and there are people that can kind of still kind of make that energy visible despite the constant kind of re-editing and kind of retouching. But I think the point is Ramon was trying to emphasize how you want to try and keep that energy in your work. So yeah. Again, look at that awesome sketch. The environment is very heavy on the flats, not a lot of line work here. The characters though, he does do the whole line thing for the sketch. And again, it's very kind of suggested, very sketch-like, right? But because of the way he just colors it or renders it underneath, yeah. Right? It's so gestural and very just kind of dynamic and bold. And given this style, he can tell more stories, or he can tell stories a lot faster just because of his style. And I think that's what gives him an advantage when he's kind of animating, you know? Like he's just so used to sketching quickly that it's just easier for him in a way, you know? And it really helps with the kind of iteration process. If something doesn't work, just kind of sketch over it, and you'll find the right kind of pose or whatever. The line art does get a bit sharper in the hand, camera, and the face. And the line work does get kind of smaller here. Maybe obviously this is the kind of focus of the piece. But yeah, very awesome way of I mean, these are just flat colors with some kind of value changes in them, and that's kind of enough to kind of, you know, yeah. Again, nice line work here. I'm not sure how he did the circle because it looks a bit too clean, but it's awesome, right? But in the actual kind of character, very loose and very kind of just confident line sketches, right? Or line strokes, sorry. Nice cute face, and you don't even have to like define the nose, because I did this thing where I tried to steady like a face and then I would draw like the bridge and everything, and I noticed that most artists keep some features very minimal. Like you don't have to actually draw it, you know, because it's going to look kind of weird. So you have to be a bit more minimal with the line work. especially when it comes to like the face, because it can make the person look way old. And yeah, and you have to be extra careful when drawing like women or girls, because they have like a softer kind of face usually, and they're going to look a bit more like skeleton-ish if you add like too many like lines. So you have to kind of just relax and tone things down a bit. And I love the kind of the quickness of his line sketch here, or his line strokes in this kind of sketch, in the line work. Fuck. He likes to keep it direct and simple. Oh, I love the reflection kind of thing here. That's a very nice kind of effect. Now this one's more of a full scene, kind of a full scene, but you can tell, oh, in the background he did kind of sketch it a bit with some lines. But yeah, even if it's not full, it doesn't have to be like a comic level kind of thing, where the lines are kind of inked and shit. You can just leave it at this stage to kind of communicate a story. And to me, his work actually stands out more when it's like this. Just because I feel like if you have like too many inks in your work, it can make your thing look a bit tight, and it's not easy to look at, as you know, compared to like Ramon's work, where it's just so easy, and it's not just easy, it's lovely to kind of look at, you know, like it's very enjoyable to observe, right? Oh, these are examples of his like studies, I guess. So he does use reference, and I think if you do like a lot of studies, eventually you will kind of get the gist of the face, or maybe some gestures or some expressions, right? And I need to do more of this, definitely. And he does that lens correction thing again, with the kind of shift in the green, or cyan green, and the red. It adds a bit of a cinematic kind of effect, right? Shit. Oh, this is Miss Grande. I love the expression here. This kind of confused look. Right? So I think a bit of learning a bit of caricature, like trying to find a way to simplify the face and just take away the best, or not the best, but the main features, and learning how to kind of simplify that, I think it's an important skill if you want to draw like faces or something. Well, you have to find a way to simplify it for yourself. And even when he's doing his studies, his style still remains, you know, with the big eyes and the small, kind of like a small face. Now here's a bit realistic. It's almost kind of realistic, right? Unlike this one. I mean, the lighting here does make it a bit realistic, and it's kind of bottom up lighting, right? So this is kind of Rihanna, right? With them crazy eyes. Even the way he does the hair. Oh, he doesn't render it like anime, like how a manga or an anime kind of artist would render it. It's just one big kind of blob, and it's kept very minimal, right? Here it's kind of like anime, just a bit. Damn, that's so cool. This one's more of a complete scene. When I say complete, like there's a bit of like an environment kind of suggestion, right? And again, the perspective is kind of like really pushed here, and it obviously fits his style. His characters are animated, so it kind of makes sense to make the environment kind of animated itself, right? Reminds me of a piece by Kim Jong-gi. But yeah, again, the perspective is very, very skewed, but I like it. And again, very heavy on the shapes. You can see that noise texture along with the lens correction kind of effect. In the background, you can see some rough line work and some basic kind of coloring, I guess. This one's another scene of a mech in the background, and the guy being kind of shocked while he's eating his burger, right? Reminds me of Vulcan, a character in the Fire Force kind of anime, which I'm watching right now, because of the orange hair and shit. Pretty cool. And again, look at the line sketch. He's not afraid to show that kind of power. And again, very heavy on the shapes. He's a bit kind of sharp with the lines, like very kind of just straightforward, not super curvy. I mean, there are curves, but he does lean more to like a straight kind of line than a curved one. Right? So you can see a bit of that harshness in the stroke of the line, right? So she probably just beat him or something. Oh shit! There's a guy here with a knife. Oh no! Oh, she's watching him. Oh, she's like an elite kind of like a spy or just a hitman, right? And she's kind of seeing this guy in the background, and she has her gun ready while drinking milk. Whoa, boss move. And again, look at that line work. Damn, very sketchy, right? Very loose. Well, not loose, but just straightforward. Very confident and heavy on the shapes. You can see a bit of noise texture, obviously, again, and that lens correction kind of thing. And he does have like a lot of like short animation projects in his YouTube channel. He does link it in his ArtStation. Look at that line sketch, right? And the faces are very, very animated. Main character over here, right? Wow. And I think he does like a lot of storyboards. He does have an example of that here. Oh, he does have. So this is the line sketch, the initial ones, and what's so cool is that it often kind of remains as is in the colored version, you know. So I believe these are more like keyframes, where they're a bit more, they're like developed storyboards. And then this is the actual kind of storyboard and a bit of like lighting exploration here. Very cool stuff. Another kind of scene, kind of reminded me of the Venom kind of scene in the grocery store kind of thing. You can see a lot of the rough lines here. And yeah, awesome. Very cartoonish face, not super cartoonish, but he does like to obviously kind of exaggerate the forms a bit more. And he obviously does try to make it kind of fit the character, right? Oh, she does have a bit of that manga kind of face. Look at the way he did the background. He just left it very simple and very kind of rough, but it's enough to kind of suggest a bit about the it's enough information to kind of tell that this is in a marketplace, aside from the actual kind of fish here. Pretty cool. And she cute, so that's always a good thing. Oh, I think it's some kind of T-Rex, like a baby T-Rex with a dress. Yeah, very kind of anime face here. And you can learn a lot from just watching anime, like the way they break down the face, or manga art. Especially when it comes to like the expressions. I think that's the best thing that you can kind of observe in like anime stuff or manga kind of art. They know how to make like a lot of facial expressions. And yeah, it looks so good, right? Even as a sketch, it looks so good. Oh shit! Grandma is like cleaning the gun. Damn. She's kind of coloring her hair here. Nice. And again, look at those lines. Very kind of sharp. You get a bit of curves, but they're more. He's a bit more kind of straightforward, kind of direct, and very sharp. You can still see a few curves here and there, but he does have a bit of that sense of. He's a bit aggressive, I guess. Whoa. So yeah. This one's a bit curvy, right? And again, the perspective is very skewed. A lot of like line sketch remains in this sketch, or the line work kind of. He has like a fluff. Why do they keep saying luff? He has like a rough line work, right? Okay, the T-Rex, the dinosaur thing is here, or lizard thing. Back. Oh, she had to like change her color for something, and I think she's preparing for work. Oh, for a different kind of work, perhaps. Oh no. But I do like seeing like a few like this is an example of its kind of storytelling of his short stories. And I do think it's like it's our version as visual artists, you know, when it comes to like creating short stories, you know, because obviously in writing you have like actual short stories that take like a few minutes to read or something, and I think in art we should kind of do more of that as well. And I don't think it should just be for comic book artists. I think everyone should, well, not everyone, obviously people have their own like preferences and just takes on things, but I'm being more open to telling more stories, you know, kind of like this one. Just creating like a few sequences or a few scenes, and I think that's kind of enough to kind of gauge or create some kind of interest in your work, right? And again, with the way it's kind of sketched out, but the coloring kind of pushes the sketch further. It makes it more kind of a last in your eyes, right? Cool sketch, right? I love the expression here. Reminds me of 02 because of the red. And he does have like again a lot of work where he studies like characters from games and films and trying to break down their expressions. And his more recent work does involve like a lot more kind of keyframe stuff, like fuller scenes. But before that, he did like a lot of the character stuff where the background is just left as is, and he's just focusing on the actual concept of the character, like the fashion thing, the expression, developing the personality perhaps, right? Kind of like this. And again, even if the faces aren't like they're not exactly the same, but he does like his style kind of remains. So how do you achieve that? I want to reach this kind of level. Not his style obviously, but I want to have that sense of consistency, because I'm pretty sure if you showed his work to someone else that knows his work, that person will have a good guess that it's his in the first place, just because his style is very, very distinct. Not just in terms of the proportion of his characters, but the the line sketch along with the coloring, the lighting, right? The expressions, the exaggeration in his work, the perspective kind of skewed, fisheye kind of thing. All of it combined is going to kind of make you think of Ramon Nunez. Damn, reminds me of the Fire Force anime series where the nuns are kind of well, not all of the nuns, but the ones in Company 8, they're way hotter. Yes. And again, look at the strength, the confidence in his line sketch, right? And the colors are left kind of simple. And he did show. I believe these are examples of his. The thing I was talking about earlier about trying to maintain that kind of simplicity and or that kind of energy in the beginning, and you have to kind of remember that initial kind of thing and try to make that thing remain even as you kind of develop the lines more or add more color or like add more characters to the scene. You want to keep that kind of energy, and because sometimes that can get lost through like constant development of that art piece. So you want to just kind of keep that in mind, and I think these are examples of his initial sketches that has like energy in it, right? Very, very gestural, right? Okay, so that's it for this video, for this art review of Ramon Nunez. I will link all of his relevant links in the description below. I do recommend you follow him on ArtStation. And his Tumblr page does look kind of good because you can see like the GIF or the GIF. And also his YouTube channel, because I think he does like a few. You can see more of his work there in video form, obviously. So yeah, check him out. Keep drawing, keep painting, and stay free.